Golf shot, even par. All right, Heat Celtics, game 2. Heat took game 1. Is it going to be a zigzag? Big face coffee owner.
About that coffee.
It's for closers, as they say. Kemba in a slump of late, but this is a guy that is certainly capable of shooting himself out of it, and that's just what he did. Kemba, all 3 of these. Then Kemba off the miss. No, not the miss. Makes that one. Shooter knows if he missed, right?
Correct.
And if you do, then you just follow and you get it. And Kemba and the Celtics out in a big way, thanks to 6 of 10 shooting, 14 points, and the C's lead by 13. But as we have discussed throughout, the Heat are not a team that you put to bed easily. They enter the second half trailing by 13, largest halftime deficit of the postseason. But they are fearless. Everybody can pass, dribble, and shoot, and here they come. Little two-man game, Jay and Bam. Heat back in it. Now it's a 4-point game. What a give. Adebayo goes nuts in the third with 15 in the third quarter alone after that remarkable block to close game 1. Just throw it up, let him go get it. And all of a sudden the Heat, thanks to the 15 from Bam in the third after just 4 in the first half, Kemba was the guy that propelled Boston in the first. Bam's the guy that propelled the Heat in the third. But it's a 48-minute game off the miss. There's Jaylen Brown skying for the rebound, tying things at 89. Just a remarkable play here from Jimmy Butler to make it the save, then to get back on the floor, get the pass. One more look at it. It's Duncan Robinson. Had to kill him not to take that 3. But he gets it down low. And now it's a 2-point lead. Goran Dragic, step back, eye hole, big time hit. And all of a sudden, the Heat lead by 5. But just like you can't get rid of them, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of the Celtics. It helps to have Jimmy Butler making all the winning plays. Again, an incredible defensive effort. He gives it up to Jay Crowder here to keep the balance, avoid the contact, and find the cutting Crowder. This is a high IQ team. So is the other one on the other end. Smart, the kick out. Jaylen, big 3, 6-point game, cut to 3. Need a stop. Big rebound from Adebayo off the Crowder miss, but then Boston pressuring, and that's a giveaway. Don't expect to see Butler lose that one. Celtics sharing the ball. Brown gets a good look to tie. No. And the rebound fought for. Adebayo gets it. Free throws made, and the Heat come back to erase a double-digit deficit at the break to win by 5. Celtics have had double-digit leads in each of the 2 losses to the Heat. Overall, they've lost 4 times this postseason when leading by double figures. We saw that trip up the Clippers, obviously, in a big way. Boston's led by double digits for a total of 18-46 this series. Meanwhile, the Heat's largest lead is 8, and the Celtics' frustration is palpable. Here's Brad Stevens.
Guys were emotional after a hard game, hard loss.
Tim Bontemps. Brad, what happened in the third quarter?
We pulled apart, and we didn't play well. And they did a good job. We're not beating this team if we're not completely connected on both ends of the court. So got to get back to being that, which we've been at times, but right now they're a better team, and we're going to have to fight to get back into this series.
Sounds like it got heated. Malik Andrews from the Bubble will join us a little bit later with more reporting on that. We get to welcome in a man who's now officially a teammate, man. It feels great to say that, Vince Carter. Welcome to the squad. You make us better immediately. And we talked to Tim Legler about that zone in the second half. I wonder what you saw in terms of its impact. How did it change the game?
Scott, shout out to the coach. Coach Spoelstra is like, he one thing he said, he's like, we're not playing well, and some people talk about a scheme. Well, he's going off of feel, and he could feel in the first half, Kemba Walker was rolling. He was getting it done, and he was getting anything he wanted, and you don't want a guy like Kemba Walker to get going. So what does he do? He comes out with a zone defense, and he just wanted to junk up the game. Well, after junking up the game and seeing it works, well, let's stick with it. And Leg said it. We're just going to ride this until it doesn't work anymore. And that's what he started to do, and they got back into it. They started hitting shots. The third quarter was bam. Bam was rolling 15 points in the third quarter. And, of course, you can't – I mean, what Duncan Robinson was doing, and he spread the floor, opened things up for somebody like Bam to get easy rolls to the basket. The lob was there and there. You're saying, how come somebody is not stepping up? Well, you can't step up if somebody like Duncan Robinson is shooting lights out like he was.
You played every role in the league, right? From superstar to the old head that could teach some of the young guys. But as you watch a guy like Jimmy Butler is a star that doesn't have to, I just asked Duncan about it, doesn't have to hunt shots, doesn't really care if he gets shots, and then makes so many winning plays. When you talk about culture, which frankly I think is an overused word, but when you talk about culture, how much does Butler reflect what Miami is about?
Well, let me say this. First of all, that's a gift. He goes in the first half and he's a facilitator. And it is something I've told young stars all the time. You want to get your guys involved early. Get them going. Because if they're rolling, if Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero are shooting threes and you have to stay home on them, well, guess what Jimmy gets to do in the second half and or the fourth quarter? Take over and take all the shots that he needs. So the culture there is understood. Jimmy Butler brings his style, but he walks in understanding the Miami Heat culture. They pass the ball, they play one way, they play hard, and that's what Coach Spoelstra said. He said we weren't playing hard in the effort. It's not the scheme, it's the effort. So he put in the zone defense in the third quarter, and they brought the effort on both ends.
Well, Vince, I'm just happy you're on our squad, man, because you're a free agent. Everybody wanted you, so I'm happy to have you along, and I look forward to talking more throughout the remainder of the playoffs. All right?
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, Vince Carter. Malik Andrews, by the way, with more on that story from the Boston locker room, which obviously was pretty passionate. We do your research on the Heat. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first half, down 17, matching their largest postseason comeback in franchise history, along with a 17-point comeback against the Thunder in the finals, 2012. That was Game 4. And the deficit was entirely erased in the third quarter alone. And in fact, they led by outscoring the Celtics 37-17. Second time they've outscored a team by 20 in a quarter these playoffs. Also did that Game 3 of their series against the Bucks. And what a night from Duncan Robinson, who you heard from a little bit earlier. His third game with at least 6 threes, carried the Heat in that department, as the rest of the team was just 8 of 31 from deep on the evening. His job is to shoot the ball, Steve, no matter what.